Hello there, name's Dallin Bartleman. I'm a student at ASU and I'm studying Parks and Recreation, and while studying it I stumbled upon the subject of parents in the US keeping their children indoors and not letting them play outside without direct supervision more today than they ever have in the past. The issue being that children are not going outside and playing as much as they used to, and they're just staying in and eating and playing video games and playing on their computers, which is creating a higher statistics in childhood obesity. And I found this out in 120 class for Parks and Recreation called Leisure and the Quality of Life, and that's why it had to do with childhood obesity. Anyways, what really intrigued me was the stats that showed that it is safer now than it has been in the past, and it's safer now than when I was growing up, but parents are so immersed in media with television and online, so they can get violent media 24 hours a day. It's no wonder why they're so afraid. Although if they knew the truth, would they still feel the same? What you've just seen is a graph that shows non-fatal victimizations against students from the ages of 12 to 18 per 1,000 students from 1992 to 2010. And as you can see, all the numbers have dropped, most significantly in total victimizations and thefts, and still also in violent and serious violent victimizations. This chart shows the use of drugs, cigarettes, and alcohol in grades 8, 10, and 12 from 1991 to 2011. The use of cigarettes and alcohol has gone down very significantly across the board, although marijuana use has gone slightly up in the latter grades. Now, a parent's biggest fear is someone abducting their child just right off the street. Although a study done by the U.S. Department of Justice in 2002 showed that about a third of kidnapped children are taken by strangers, and the rest are taken by somebody that they knew. Mean World Syndrome is an idea that has become popular by George Gerbner, a communication theorist. The more violence that we consume from the media, the more people think the world is a more violent place than it actually is. More specifically, the cultivation theory, which says the more violence from media we take in, the more we come to accept that that is normal, and we shape our lives around these thoughts and beliefs, which make people more worried than they need to be, especially parents. Free Range Kids is a book written by Lenore Skenazy, in which she discusses how parents are stifling their kids' independence and joy with too much worrying and safety. They aren't gaining intelligence on how to do things on their own. Skenazy says in the article by Rosker, there's a 1 in 1.5 million chance of a child abduction, whereas there's a 1 in 3 chance of a child being obese, according to Skenazy. I personally grew up in the heart of downtown in Salt Lake City, Utah. It's not known as a very violent place, but there are still homeless people and drug addicts and etc. From the age of 7 to 11, I walked to school every day, and it was, about 2 miles from my home. I played outside, I drank from the hose, I got bumps and bruises, and today I take care of myself very well. In fact, I haven't had any help from my parents financially since I was 17 years old, and I was able to learn to take care of myself by being active and having fun as a child, but also being able to learn from my own mistakes. It's time for parents to let their children do the same again. Parents, turn off the news or take it with a grain of salt, because we need smart and strong leaders for the future.